Hi, we're back. I'm Barney with DPReview.com, and I'm here with Jay Kelbley from Samsung. So, Jay, why don't you just walk us through your job, your responsibility at Samsung?
So I'm the marketing manager for the US for Samsung for digital imaging. So cameras, camcorders, anything that takes a picture that really is a camera versus a tablet or smartphone or something like that.
Great. So you've got your big product at the moment, the most recent new product is the NX1, which is your flagship interchangeable lens camera.
Yeah, we announced this at Photokina in Germany a few weeks back. It's the highest performance camera we've ever made. It's, in many respects, the highest performance camera that's really been rolled out into the market by many of the specifications that are in it.
So what are some of the key features of the NX1?
It's 28 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS and APS-C.
That's the first time, isn't it? I think that someone's done that.
Yeah. So this is the largest commercially available BSI CMOS chip on the market. And backside illumination, or BSI backside illumination, a lot of people aren't familiar with it. Basically, when you're making an image sensor, you start, like with any other semiconductor, by starting with an aluminum base plate, and then you build up layers and layers and layers of circuitry. But the bottom layer of circuitry closest to the aluminum base plate are the photodiodes, the part that senses the light. But after you build up all the other circuitry and the CFA and the microlenses and all that, there's quite a deep well, or a large amount of space that the light needs to come down before it can be sensed by the sensor. So what we've done is we flipped the sensor upside down, basically, taking away that aluminum base plate.
The backside illumination comes from.
And so the photodiodes are closer to the light source, so they're much more efficient. By just switching a normal process sensor to backside illumination, you pick up about 2 to 2.5 stops additional sensitivity.
Right, so that should make it better in low light, higher ISO sensitivities.
And it also gives you a more direct path for the light. From the back of the lens, so you don't necessarily need what they call telecentric light presentation from the back of the lens. You don't get as much light fall off because you're not going through this.
I'm not sure we have time to really get into that. So we've talked about the sensor. What are the other standout features of the NX1?
It'll do 15 frames per second sustained. It will AF track during that. As well, it does 4K UHD video. It'll store the 4K UHD video to the SD card inside the camera. With the autofocus, it's a hybrid autofocus system with 204 phase detect autofocus points on the chip, plus additional contrast autofocus points. One of the unique features of the phase detect autofocus is the cross-type autofocus sensors we're using. So we've moved to a massive number of cross-type autofocus points, phase detect autofocus points, that'll catch both horizontal and vertical detail.
So that makes them more precise.
Yeah, most cameras, when they have phase detect sensors, they'll lay out the phase detect sensors in a horizontal alignment. And so actually, if you've got detail like a striped shirt, it may actually miss and not be able to focus on it. So by using a cross type, we can pick up pretty much any type of detail when we're trying to use the phase detect system.
So this camera, I mean, it's clearly aimed at enthusiasts. It's very much a flagship for Samsung.
Yeah.
Just talk us through the rest of the lineup. I mean, what's the strategy for your interchangeable lens lineup right now?
Well, the marketing strategy we've used for the last couple of years is to make everything connected. And while most manufacturers treat Wi-Fi as a checklist item on cameras, we've worked really hard to make our cameras fully interoperable with mobile phones, tablets, lifestyle devices. Not just add Wi-Fi to it, but make it so that they're connected, sharing, it's easy. Because most consumers, and a lot of professionals, when they're taking images, they want to share them immediately. They're taking the images specifically to share them, whether it's in social media or with friends or whatever. And the operation and connectivity and sharing should be seamless with your camera, like it is with every other device you're carrying around with you.
So Samsung obviously makes tablets, makes smartphones, makes incredible number of them, and has done for a long time. I mean, what influence has that experience making those mobile devices? How has that influenced the camera design, research and development?
Well, quite a bit. I mean, about 3 years ago, our phone division and our camera division were merged. So the camera division is now part of the phone division. And that's allowed us to share engineers to more tightly integrate experiences with the products. But it's also allowed us to take key technology from the mobile division, which is very advanced. That's all the cutting edge consumer electronics that's out there, and roll it into our cameras. So we've been able to use capacitive touch screens, OLED displays, image processing cores and camera cores that are lower power, lower heat, and higher performance. Similarly with memory, with the radios that are in our cameras. And so we've been able to very aggressively leverage the experiences, the technology, and the innovation that's come out of our mobile devices and roll them right into our cameras.
So do you think Samsung makes everything from battleships to microprocessors? I mean, do you think Samsung, and fridges and toasters, do you think Samsung still suffers from something of an image problem for photographers as being a home appliance manufacturer?
Samsung's not as well established in the camera market because we didn't start in the camera market. That being said, we're making some of the highest performance cameras in the world. Mm-hmm. The NX1 is up there in terms of performance on pretty much every vector. But if you look back 10 years ago, 5 years ago, Samsung wasn't known as a key television manufacturer, a key mobile phone manufacturer. Right. And now we're number one in both those key technology areas. So generally when Samsung focuses on an area and invests, we've shown and demonstrated pretty clearly that we can win and win big and supply superior technology and experiences and all of that. So while we're relatively and comparatively new in the camera market, we've been around a while and we're clearly demonstrating that we're able to do things that other people in the market can't, and I think that'll work with customers.
How do you do that? I mean, if someone looks at your camera and goes, it looks nice, but that company makes my toaster. I mean, how do you persuade them? How do you make them make that leap?
Well, we're easily point them to the TVs we're making or the phones we're making. We're making the highest performance phones in the world with bigger, faster processors, bigger screens, better performance, all of that. Similar with televisions. Probably the same with refrigerators, but I'm not as up to speed on refrigerator technology as I probably should be. But if going through core specs from this thing, we're able to leap past kind of the incrementalism that you see with other camera manufacturers. A few more megapixels, a little bit fraction of a frame rate improvement every year or two or whatever. In this case, we're jumping to 15 frames per second, which is crazy. We put 802.11 AC in these things. It'll do 4K video to the SD card, to a normal SD card. The autofocus performance, the number of autofocus sensors in here is way ahead of everyone else. All that's rolled into one product. It's not incremental improvements across version year to year. Mm-hmm. This thing has jumped on pretty much every feature vector.
So it is a huge jump.
Yeah.
It's a flagship that sits far above the model down from it. In terms of specification. Do you see that as an evolution of NX that was going to happen anyway, or are you going after a new demographic for the first time?
We're definitely moving up in the market. I mean, this is a camera that's not just targeted at advanced amateurs and photo enthusiasts. It's targeted at professionals. Professionals doing 4K video, professionals shooting low light, whether it's nature, wedding photography. We're investing in it, and it's a very conscious investment. Mm-hmm. At CES, we announced our first water-resistant, dust-resistant lens. This is our first water-resistant, dust-resistant body. So we kind of planned that in part of the roadmap. We're announcing more lenses. We're just starting to ship a 50 to 150 f2.8 that again is one of our S-series lenses, waterproof, dustproof, very high
70
performance.
to 200 mil equivalent, roughly.
Yeah, roughly. But it's lighter. It's designed for APS-C, which is the system we're running on. With that, it's pushing less glass because it's optimized for APS-C. So the performance should be better than what people would experience even on a premium 70 to 200 lens.
So the glass is important, clearly, but what else do you have to get right to really convince professionals?
Well, workflow, obviously. So we're investing in a lot of workflow initiatives as well. We bundle Lightroom in our box instead of bundling software that we would have written that wouldn't have been as good necessarily. We're moving to more in-camera processing, so things like in-camera JPEG conversion from RAW, little things like that we're rolling in. Trying to advance in areas where people hadn't traditionally advanced, putting customizable AF search ranges on the lenses, so you can select from the back of the camera what the search range is for focus, things like that really should be in any of these performance products. Partnering with companies like Metz for flash and with additional companies that are doing 4K accessories for cine production and things like that. So we're doing a lot to move and enable the entire workflow and system for professionals as well.
So you put this camera has, as we mentioned, it can shoot 4K video. And did you put that feature in there because you could, or because you were aiming it at a specific customer need or a specific demographic?
Yes and yes. I mean, 4K video, just like full HD, 3-4 years ago was a table stakes feature that hit. We believe 4K video is important. 4K TVs are on the market now, and they're prevalent. People are looking for ways to generate content themselves. Production companies are looking for lower cost production platforms. We rolled 4K into this. We took a very strong position with 4K. We put in the H.265 HEVC codec in here, which is different than the H.264, the standard MP4 codec everyone's been using, which is more efficient, compresses more, gives better image quality, but it's not fully enabled across workflows yet. Right. But I can take the file from this and play it in any of the current 4K TVs that are out in the market. They understand that codec already. It is the new broadcast standard codec. I can upload to Facebook and it understands that codec already. Mm-hmm. But rather than working with old codecs, old processes, we want to build for the future, even if the future is a few months away from all the software support we need for it.
Yeah, that must present an interesting challenge where you sort of almost get ahead of yourself in a way. I felt very much like Wi-Fi is one of those features. I mean, Wi-Fi first appeared in cameras, when, 8 years ago, something like that? 7 or 8 years ago?
Yeah, probably 7.
Before anyone was really ready for it, and it just died out. Yeah. I mean, do you think the time is right now for features like 4K and like total connectivity?
Absolutely. 4K especially. Mm-hmm. The infrastructure to support 4K isn't as developed as it from a production editing standpoint as just like it wasn't as developed at the time Full HD was coming out. Mm-hmm. But the market and the market will support it. They are supporting it. And there's more customer understanding now of the value of 4K than I think there was maybe 3 or 4 years ago for Full HD. And people are scrambling for it. There's 4K content popping up all over the internet on a daily basis. There's people searching for it. They can really see the value in it when they get on a good 4K mm-hmm. monitor. It's ready now for Wi-Fi. We're continually pushed for more and better Wi-Fi solutions. We rolled 802.11ac into this camera. You can actually play back 4K video from this camera to a TV wirelessly, stream it wirelessly, which is pretty amazing from a bandwidth standpoint. But we want to make it simple and as elegant as we can and as powerful as we can as well.
So what do you learn? I mean, as I said earlier on, Samsung makes everything. I mean, what did you learn from a product like the Galaxy camera? I mean, it's a compact camera, compact zoom camera with a full Android interface. The whole back of the thing is a touchscreen. I mean, what do you learn from putting a product like that out in the marketplace?
We learned a lot. I mean, we built the Galaxy camera as a bit of an experiment. 21x zoom, backside illuminated CMOS camera. In the market, just those two specs, the camera would be $200 and something bucks. Mm-hmm. We rolled full Android into it with a huge, beautiful capacitive touchscreen, and that camera sold last year for $450, and it was the top camera over top point and shoot camera over $400 last year in the U.S. It's continued to be incredibly strong, very well received. What we learned from that is it's not just the camera, it's the experience. Customers love the big capacitive touchscreen. They love it because they can display their pictures, they can show them. They like being able to customize the camera. Mm-hmm. We're not holding them back with a user interface or workflow that we're expecting. They can add Instagram or anything they want to this camera, download the app and edit, share, or play games on it if they want.
Make phone calls using Skype.
Yeah. And surprisingly, I do. I have Skype on that one.
So you haven't. I mean, this is a distinct product line. You have the Galaxy NX, mm-hmm. Which has is a similar philosophy. It's full Android running on a camera, but the camera has interchangeable lenses. But the NX1, you opted not to go down that route. I mean, why is that?
Well, the Android experience in a camera is it's a lot weighted toward the experience as a priority. For the NX1, we want it to be basically no excuses, all performance. So when you stomp down on the shutter release of this camera, we want it to fly and take 15 frames per second and function with optimum performance. That's the priority for the product.
And get the interface out the way, effectively.
Don't let interface impact that at all. So the best way to do that is to use not an open OS paradigm with it.
All right, well, thank you, Jay. I think that was an interesting overview. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for watching.